All right, so get ready, because today we are going deep, like deep. We're going to unlock your potential, and wow, have you given us some fantastic material for this deep dive. I have a feeling, just a feeling, we're both walking away with a whole bunch of ah-ha-ha moments today.
You can say that again. It's going to be exciting. Belief, the power of it, and then all those sneaky little self-limiting beliefs that kind of get in the way. And that reminds me, forgiveness. You got to talk about forgiveness, the freedom it brings.
Absolutely, and we're not stopping there. We're diving into the nitty-gritty, those practical steps to actually, make change happen. Oh, and you know what else? There's this super cool analogy about a pencil weight for it and letting go of negativity. Can't wait for that one.
Let's jump right in. The source material kicks off with a powerful story, Michelangelo's David. It really makes you think. Even in what seems like a totally worthless hunk of marble, Michelangelo saw a masterpiece waiting to happen.
Seriously, it blows my mind. One of the most iconic sculptures ever almost didn't exist. Makes you wonder what masterpieces are hiding inside each of us, just waiting to be, revealed.
Exactly. It's just like Michelangelo chipped away at all that extra stone to bring out David. We got to fist and break through our own uh, mental blocks, right?
You're talking about those self-limiting beliefs. Yeah, the ones that whisper, not good enough, not smart enough. You know the drill. The dream stealers.
Hit the nail on the head. The source material uses this analogy, a car with a locked tire. You can floor it all you want, but you're just going to spin your wheels, right? And what's really interesting is that these beliefs, so often, they come from way back. Childhood stuff, things people said or messages we just absorbed, or even situations that just kind of like warped how we see ourselves.
It's incredible how much power our past holds over us even years later. But hey, the good news is we don't got to stay stuck there.
No way. And that's where believing in yourself comes in. Big time. The source material is all about how our beliefs actually shape what happens in our lives. Like, if you think you're limited, well, guess what? You'll act that way. But if you believe in your potential, boom, the possibilities are endless.
It's like that Henry Ford quote, right? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Our beliefs kind of become like self-fulfilling prophecies.
100%. But here's the thing. It's not just about slapping on a happy face and thinking positive thoughts. It's about making a conscious choice to line up our thoughts with what we want to achieve. The source material talks about these universal laws, like the laws cause and effect and the law of expectations. What's so powerful is realizing that we have way more control over our thoughts and beliefs than we realize.
So it's like instead of feeling like we're, stuck with whatever life throws at us, we can actually shift our thinking and create something different. Pretty empowering when you think about it.
Totally. And there's this story in the source material that really brings this to life. It's about this guy who was struggling with like pessimism and anxiety. And get this, he had a seemingly good life on paper, right? Loving family, stable job, good friends, the whole 9 yards. But inside, he felt totally trapped in negativity, convinced he had zero control over his life.
Interesting. From the outside, it might have seemed like he had no reason to complain. But obviously, something else was going on in his head.
Right. So the source material goes on to explain how they worked with this client, helping him break down his life into different areas and figuring out where he actually had control. It was all about shifting his focus from the things he couldn't change to the choices he could make, even if they were small choices.
So instead of feeling powerless, he started taking charge, right? And directing his energy towards, like, positive change.
Boom, exactly. It's a powerful reminder that all of us, we have more control than we think we do. And to help us cultivate that belief in ourselves, the source material gives us a really cool exercise to try. You pick 3 people you admire. They can be anyone, like historical figures, people you know personally, doesn't matter.
Right, I like this. It's like building a blueprint for success, modeling ourselves after the qualities we admire in others.
Yes. And the key here is don't just admire them from afar. Really think about how you can develop those same traits in yourself. It's all about using their inspiration to fuel your own growth. And speaking of personal growth, you know what else the source material emphasizes? Letting go of the past, specifically through forgiveness.
Yeah, that's important. It's like shedding that heavy baggage that can weigh us down and keep us from moving forward freely, right?
And, the source material has some really insightful things to say about this. It points out how holding on to resentment actually ends up hurting us more than anyone else. Forgiveness, it's not about saying bad behavior is okay. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional weight of the past.
So basically, choosing to break free from that anger and resentment so we can make space for peace and healing.
Exactly. And forgiving the people who've hurt us, especially, our parents, can be seriously transformative. The source material talks about understanding that everyone, even our parents, are doing the best they can with what they've got, with their knowledge, their resources.
It's like remembering that they're products of their own experiences too, right? They had their own upbringing and probably made their fair share of mistakes along the way.
Absolutely. And the source material actually has this powerful exercise to guide us through this whole process. You identify 4 groups of people to forgive: parents, past relationships, everyone else, and this one's important, yourself.
Oh, that last one, forgiving ourselves, that could be tough. We could be so hard on ourselves, holding on to guilt and shame way longer than we need to.
Forgiving ourselves can be one of the most challenging things to do, but it's also one of the most freeing acts of self-love there is. And it connects back to those self-limiting beliefs we talked about. Sometimes the ones that hold us back the most are the ones we have about ourselves. All those past mistakes or things we see as shortcomings.
So true. It's like we keep playing those old tapes in our heads, reinforcing the idea that we're not good enough or that we don't deserve happiness.
And get this, the source material tells this story about a guy at a seminar who finally forgave his dad for something his dad didn't even remember doing. Can you imagine carrying that around for years, only to find out it wasn't even on the other person's radar? It just goes to show how often we create our own suffering by clinging to those old hurts.
It's like we're imprisoning ourselves with all those negative emotions. That story really hits home. Forgiveness is about freeing ourselves.
It's about making that choice, to let go of the past and step into the freedom and possibility of right now.
It really makes you think about all the weight we carry, right, from the past. I mean, the things we hold on to and the things that hold us back. And speaking of heavy stuff, as we move forward, there's this other big theme. The source material dives into change.
Oh man, change can be scary. The source material hits it right on the head. In a world where information, technology, even competition, it's all constantly shifting. The only thing that stays the same is change itself.
It's like trying to stand still in shifting sand. You can fight it all you want, but you're going to lose your balance eventually. So how do we deal with this constant state of flux, without getting totally overwhelmed?
Well, the source material has this really cool reframing. What if, instead of resisting change, we actually embrace it? See it as a chance to grow. It's about becoming adaptable, realizing that change isn't the enemy. It's more like a catalyst, for evolution.
Okay, so instead of trying to control the waves, we learn to surf. I like that. But how do we actually do that? Where do we even begin?
The source material introduces this awesome tool called zero-based thinking. It's all about taking a step back, looking at every part of your life and asking yourself, knowing what I know now, would I start doing this again today?
Whoa, that's a powerful question. It really forces you to get honest with yourself, right? About whether what you're doing actually aligns with your values, your goals, who you are now.
Exactly. It helps you figure out what's not serving you anymore, so you can let go and make room for the things that truly matter. It could be a habit, a commitment, a relationship, anything that just doesn't feel right anymore.
It's like hitting the reset button, giving yourself permission to design a life that actually feels fulfilling.
And to go along with that reset, the source material talks about this other exercise called the magic wand exercise. This one's fun. You get to visualize your ideal life 5 years from now. Picture it. Your career, your relationships, your health, your surroundings, everything you want.
Oh, I love this. It's like setting the coordinates on your inner GPS, leading you straight to your dream destination.
And by really defining that ideal state, you create this powerful magnetic force that pulls you towards it. Remember that law of expectations we talked about earlier? This exercise is putting it into action.
So we're not just sitting around wishing things were different. We're actually shaping our future, by aligning our thoughts, beliefs, and actions with our vision. That's pretty amazing.
It really is. And the source material reminds us that, personal transformation, it takes more than just dreams and good intentions. It takes action. There's this awesome framework outline that focuses on 7 keys to achieving great things: values, vision, goals, knowledge, skills, time management, and action.
Okay, break those down for us. How do those 7 keys work together to, help us unlock our potential?
Well, they're not just some vague ideals. The source material actually gives you concrete steps to put them into practice. It starts with knowing your core values, those guiding principles that shape all your decisions and actions. Then you build a compelling vision of your future and set specific, measurable goals to bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be.
So it's like having a clear destination in mind, but also mapping out the route to get there step by step.
Exactly. And to navigate that route, you need the right knowledge and skills. This is where continuous learning comes in, always looking for ways to broaden your horizons and develop new capabilities.
It's like investing in yourself, right? Upgrading your internal software to become more effective and make a bigger impact in all areas of your life.
I love that analogy. And it leads us right into the next key, time management. The source material talks about this as being a major part of self-mastery. It's not just about getting things done, it's about making sure your actions are lined up with your priorities and your values.
So it's about making sure that all those daily tasks are actually moving you towards your goals, not just keeping you busy.
You got it. And the source material gives some seriously helpful tips to boost your productivity, like identifying your highest value tasks and focusing on the 20% that gets you 80% of the results. It's called the Pareto principle.
So it's all about working smarter, not just harder. We can get so caught up in the daily grind that we lose sight of what's truly important.
And finally, the action key is what ties everything together. The source material really stresses how important it is to overcome procrastination and take consistent action, even small steps, to build momentum toward your goals.
It's like that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. We don't have to do everything at once, but we got to start somewhere.
Exactly. And as we're on this personal growth journey, the source material reminds us that it's not just about individual success, it also impacts our relationships in a big way.
That makes sense. When you feel good about yourself, it changes how you interact with others. It's like your inner state just kind of radiates outward.
Exactly. The source material is all about how when we cultivate inner peace and fulfillment, it creates this ripple effect, leading to more positive, harmonious relationships all around.
So it's not just about becoming the best version of ourselves for us. It's about becoming the best version so we can be more present and authentic in our relationships with others.
And the source material actually gives some really great strategies for building those positive relationships, both with ourselves and with other people. It all begins with self-love. That's the foundation for all healthy connections.
I love that. You can't pour from an empty cup, right? If we want to give love and support to others, we got to start by filling our own cups first.
Exactly. And to help us do that, the source material gives us these 5 powerful ways to build up self-esteem in others, which in turn makes us feel good about ourselves and strengthen those connections.
Okay, I'm curious, what are these 5 ways?
The source material calls them the 5 A's: appreciation, admiration, approval, attention, and acceptance.
5 A's. Nice. Easy to remember? But what does that actually look like in real life? Are we talking about just showering people with compliments all the time?
It's deeper than just flattery. It's about making a conscious effort to see the good in others and then reflecting that back to them in a genuine, specific way. Like, instead of just saying, good job, you could say, wow, I was really impressed with how you handled that tough situation. You showed so much composure and empathy.
So it's about being specific, sincere, and relating it back to their character, their actions. And, it doesn't have to be some big grand gesture either. Sometimes just truly listening to someone, making them feel heard and understood. That can be the biggest act of appreciation and respect there is.
Totally. And think about how you feel when someone genuinely acknowledges your efforts or qualities. Feels pretty good, right? It makes you feel seen and appreciated. And that positive reinforcement makes you want to keep doing those positive things.
It's a win-win. We build stronger relationships, boost each other's self-esteem, and create a more positive and supportive environment for everyone.
This deep dive is really making me rethink how I approach my relationships, both with myself and with others. It's not about reaching some perfect state. It's about always striving to become the best versions of ourselves while remembering that we're all still works in progress.
It's amazing how this all ties together. We often think of personal growth as this solo thing, but it's so clear that our relationships, they play a huge part, both in how we transform internally and in the impact we have on the world around us.
Right. It reminds us that we're all connected, like in this web of relationships. And what really inspires me about this material is how it emphasizes that personal growth, it's a journey. It's not about reaching some final destination or becoming perfect. It's about embracing the whole ride, the ups and downs, knowing there's always more to learn, more to experience.
So it's not about chasing perfection. It's more about being okay with the messiness of being human and realizing that even in those messy, imperfect moments, there's still beauty, still growth to be found.
Totally. And you know what? The source material ends with this really powerful question. It asks, what if we looked at our challenges not as setbacks, but as opportunities? like opportunities for learning and transformation. What kind of hidden gifts might be waiting there?
Wow, that's a real mind shift, right? Instead of seeing challenges as roadblocks or failures, what if we see them as stepping stones, as essential parts of our growth? It reminds me of that Japanese art, kintsugi, where they repair broken pottery with gold, making those cracks and imperfections part of the beauty, part of the history.
Oh, that's such a beautiful analogy. It's about recognizing that our scars, our imperfections, they tell a story. They're part of what makes us unique and strong.
And it goes back to that self-forgiveness thing we talked about earlier. When we let go of needing to be perfect, when we embrace all of ourselves, even the flaws, we create space for healing and growth. We allow ourselves to just be human.
And when we do that, we can offer that same grace and compassion to others too, because, everyone's fighting their own battles, carrying their own burdens, navigating their own journey. When we approach each other with understanding and empathy, well, we create a more supportive and loving world.
This whole deep dive has been so insightful and inspiring. It's given us so much to think about, how we approach our own growth, our relationships, how we view those inevitable challenges life throws our way. So, what resonated most with you today?
For me, it was that reminder that personal growth, it's a lifelong journey, not a destination. And that even when things are tough, there are always opportunities there. Opportunities to learn, to grow, to transform. It's about embracing it all, the good, the bad, the messy, the beautiful, and trusting that even the toughest experiences can lead us to greater wisdom, greater fulfillment. What about you? Anything stand out?
I think what really hit me was the power of our beliefs. We often don't realize how much our thoughts and beliefs shape our reality. But like we talked about today, we have the choice. We can choose our beliefs, challenge the ones that aren't serving us anymore, and cultivate beliefs that empower us, beliefs that help us live a more fulfilling and meaningful life. And that change in perspective, it can be all the difference.
It really can. And to everyone listening, we encourage you to take a moment, reflect on what resonated with you today. What's one action you can take to start unlocking your own potential? Remember, even the smallest step can put you on the path to incredible growth and transformation.
We believe in you, and we can't wait to see all the amazing things you accomplish on your journey.